Hello guys, so today I'm gonna try to make a very short, well, I'll try to make as short as I can, tutorial about how to make a tattoo, not the animation, but the tattoo, how to get it to look like this on the skin, and the whole process from Photoshop to Blender. The first part is done in Photoshop, so I did use a DAS character, as you can see in there. This is a DAS model, and when you have a DAS model and export it out of DAS, you can get texture files. So basically, you go and find wherever the texture files are and open them up in Photoshop. And in this case, I want the tattoo to be on the arm. So once it's open in Photoshop, what you want to do is it's going to open as like this. What you want to do is you want to obviously first type out your letters. So we're just going to make some filler text. We're just going to call this tat. To pick a font of your liking. Right, tattoo, bam. Place it. This method is just placing it. There's better methods, but the method I use is just simply placing it and eyeballing it where I wanted it. So this is like the inside of the arm, so place it here. And it's gonna have to be on a black and white background, black and white background for the displacement. So you wanna go down here in Photoshop, solid color. You wanna change it to black. So, and I have one already made right here. So when you export, it's going to be a JPEG. But for right now, we're going to place the tattoo where we want it. And to get the whole effect, the strategy I use is to convert this text into a smart object and then use filters and add a Gaussian blur. And what that does, the Gaussian blur helps it smoothly displace on whatever mesh you're doing in Blender. So we're going to convert to smart object, or you can rasterize it, but I use smart object so I could go back and change the filtering. So blur gallery, Gaussian blur. We're gonna add about a couple of pixels. Bumped it up to about 2.5. It's kind of big, yeah. So about like right there, 2.8, something like that. That's the first thing you want to do. The second thing you also want to do is you want to double click and go into the blending modes. And what I also added was this outer glow. This outer glow was used more for it was used more for the bleeding or the kind of bruising of the skin when you get a fresh tattoo. So I kind of made it a bit red, but it really doesn't matter because when you get into Blender, it doesn't. You're going to be able to change the color. You want it to be white and black, so you can keep it like this, and then you can also add a bit of noise on that too. So if you go to color overlay, satin, stroke texture, drop shadow. Let's see, I have to edit this part out. Yeah. So when you go back to the outer glow, also bump up the noise a bit, just so it's kind of a little bit unsmooth and bit textured, and then you can put the opacity, how big you want it, the size, spread, the jitter, all this type of stuff. The range also affects how smoothly it is, so you can keep that at 100. So really after all that's done, that's all you really need. As you can see, here's my other example. I have the lettering here, then I have a couple of them here. And yeah, so that's what I added. You see I have the effects right here. So if I turn them off, you see I have the Gaussian blur right here. It's hard to tell. Then I have the color overlay, the outer glow. So yeah. So basically once that's done, it's going to be on a black background and it's going to be all white, not red. And you're going to go to edit, export, export as. And we're going to export this as a JPEG, and you're going to save it to where you can remember. And that's the Photoshop portion. Alright, once you get back into Blender, have your model ready. I just had it in the same environment that I made the final animation with. And here's our model with the skin on. So this is our skin texture right here, basically set up. And yeah, so what I basically did was I duplicated the skin and made its own texture with another skin texture, just labeled it tattoo right here as you can see. And what I did was I first picked the area where I want the tattoo to be, where I knew I had it on here. So since it's on the forearm and the inside, at first I had made some geometry right here. If I go back into solid view, you can see that there's subdivisions because I wanted it right here. But I decided to make it all up on the arm. So if I hit select, it's going to select this whole arm because that's where these arms, that's what I decided to have it. So I had full control. So with this method, what happens is after I duplicate that, we're going to basically use our tattoo as a mask. So our tattoo needs ink. So therefore, we're going to create a printable BSDF to act as the tattoo's ink. So it's white, so it's going to show up white in the beginning, but we'll change it towards the end. So we're going to use a mix shader node and plug the printable BSDF as our ink basically, and this shader as our skin, and we're going to plug that into the surface. And when it's at half, so when it's at 1 or 0, that means it's either of the nodes. So when it's at 1, it's using the ink node. When it's at 0, it's going to be the skin node. So to control this, we're going to have our tattoo be the mask. So therefore, it stays the same color, but the mask is just what's showing up as white is the mask, which is the tattoo. Okay. So you can really leave it like this and just have a good skin texture, but we're going to try to displace it to make it just look a bit more fresh and kind of like he just got it. So to do that, we need to displace it, and that's why this is black and white, as in Photoshop. And I just hit Control Shift to view this. This is a viewer node. So if I hit Control Shift here, it's going to show that. Control Shift views what node you want. So if I Control Shift this, we can see that it's black and white, and this is going to help us displace it, the blurriness, like I said with the Gaussian blur. So after that's finished, we're going to go and plug this into displacement height, and we're going to plug that displacement height into B. And global skin has a displacement node, so we're also going to combine that node into here as well. And we're going to put that in our displacement. And now we see it come up like this. And another quick tip to make your displacements look this good is to have a multi-res modifier enabled. When it's not enabled, it starts to look a lot janky and kind of wrinkly, but adding this subdiv or a multi-res modifier helps it look very smooth. Another thing we add or we take is the color of the image and add it to our base color, and that's what I did. And I did that because we can control it with the color ramp. So this right here is the main color, the black on the far right. And I'll just prove that to you because I can change the color, make it red, green, any of that. We're going to keep it black. And this color right here is whatever color you choose. This color is going to be that Gaussian blur. So if I solo this, or if I solo this, that red color is going to be this outside color that isn't as sharp. And we see that when we change it. And I wanted to make it a slightly off the skin, so it can, the multi-res helps it look good. So, and this is how you can change the color and control that color right here. I just decided to make it a slightly bit red, but not too red to make it unrealistic. So up that color, and I just play with the hue, made it just a little bit red, something like that, just to make it kind of blend like this. And also you can control that hue with the hue and saturation node, of course. And to add further texture, I used a noise texture. Hit Control T to make the mapping, and then added a factor, color ramp into the bump height, and normal right here. It really didn't do too much, but it still adds because the displacement skin texture on this node has a lot of noise and it kind of blends well. So if I enable that, looks, it kind of blends in well. And that's how you basically get it. And obviously you control the displacement with the displacement right here. So if I put the scale up to 005, it's going to push up, which is very awesome. But that's the gist of how to make the tattoo. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.